here we are.
You wanted to wrap up love languages real quick because Sloan decided
our sweet little
literally
Sloanie,
destroy last
Sloanie
episode.
Macaroni decided she was going to absolutely just say, you guys are done.
Yeah, what a not nice person for that.
Yeah.
So you want to wrap that up. So I'll throw it to you. Have fun. I'll throw in when I can.
Okay. So remember, for love languages, there are words of affirmation, acts of service, physical touch, gifts, and what's the last one? What's the last one?
You have to know.
I do know.
You have to know.
All right, hold on. Words of affirmation, acts of service, physical touch, gifts, and
quality time.
Quality time. Oh my gosh.
You failed the test.
Wow.
4 out of 5, 80%. You passed, actually. B minus.
So that's what they are again. So make sure, if you want to go more in depth, honestly, go check out that book. We lost some lights.
Check out the book. It's all right. Keep going.
Check out the book. It goes way more in depth, but you need to know what yours are, and especially need to know what your spouses are, so you can learn to love them how they receive love.
Yeah, and if you didn't watch that video, go back and watch it.
Go back and watch the video.
And leave a comment. Say what's up.
Yeah. Let us know. What's your love language?
Yeah, leave that on this video.
Ladies, you can't just say all of them.
It's going to be physical touch.
Pick 2.
It's going to be physical touch for the ladies, I'm sure.
I'm sure, all of them.
Guys need those words of affirmation. Actually, there's a lot of guys that do.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're a lady and you like physical touch, go on. If you're a guy and you like words of affirmation, go on.
Power to the people.
But I actually, yeah, but it truly is, it's important to know those because, again, to reiterate, like, that is how your spouse receives love. That's how they feel your love that you're giving. And if you're not doing it, you know, it really can cause issues because that person is not, your spouse is not feeling like they are loved because you're not meeting their
it's a disconnect,
needs.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like when I go to Mexico, I kind of know the language, but I don't.
Right.
So and they definitely, like the people we go with, definitely don't know English.
Yeah.
So it's like me talking to them in English the whole time. They're like, okay, and?
Yeah.
Talk to Google Translate, please.
Right.
And that's literally what it's like, is you're not talking the right language. So you're not going to get the results that you want.
Correct.
It is simple.
It's
simple in theory.
Yeah, it can be simple. The practice of it
the difficult part.
Can be the difficult part, but it's a willingness once again. And I think the theme throughout this whole thing is always you're putting the other person above yourself.
Absolutely.
And if you can do that, then these are easy to achieve.
Absolutely.
Right?
I love it when you're above me.
There it is. Cringe cam.
All right. All right, but today we're going to jump into a new one.
Yeah, things that aren't so lovely.
Yeah, we're going to help you. And normally people are like, here's all the good things to make it really good. Well, no, we're going to talk today about
I think it's
4 ways to make it really bad.
Yeah. No, I think these are great to know.
Avoid these at all costs.
If you don't want an unhappy marriage,
this is avoid these dead things. End, yield sign, no outlet. Just don't go down these roads. These are not good.
Right.
And the first one would be, the first one would be criticism.
Yikes.
And, sometimes, and I think there has to be a balance in this, right? It's like, there has to be a reality of like what you do and do not like and being able to communicate that. And then there's just like absolute, I'm unhappy and I'm going to critique and criticize every single thing that you do.
Right.
And that's miserable on both because if you're the critiquer, then if that's like the mindset you get in, then you're only ever going to try to like fix or make them better or pick out, or you're never going to be happy with who they are. Right. Then if you're the one being critiqued, then it's like, well, am I worthless? Am I terrible? Like it puts in so many, am I not good enough?
Right.
And really, I think that the baseline of like abusive relationships is criticism.
Yes.
And that's what traps people.
Absolutely. But it starts off, it does start off small normally. It's like, oh, well, I'm irritated by this. But that's the thing. Like if there's not communication about what it is, because again, like we said, there is healthy criticism.
Absolutely.
Constructive criticism. Where it allows you to be honest in a loving way about what you like, don't like, what could be better, whatever.
Yes.
But if you're unwilling to do that, you're unwilling to communicate those things, then it starts off with, well, that's irritating and I don't like that. All right, whatever. And then you keep it moving. And now it's like this, it's building and building and building. And now it's like you're only looking through a lens of everything that person does wrong. They might be doing 100 things right in a day, but the 2 things they did wrong are what's illuminated and glorified in that moment. True. And it makes it like, wow, they actually are a horrible person. And that's the only way you're seeing them.
Yeah. And it's like, you decide where you point the magnifying glass.
Right.
And really what's under the magnifying glass is like all you can see.
Yeah.
And that is the issue. If you don't get a full scope, then it's not healthy. If you don't get a full sight, that's not healthy. And it's just very, very unhealthy to allow criticism to be a bedrock of your relationship. And people, well, that's just who I am. I'm a critical person. Then grow up.
Stop. Yeah.
Find some things to celebrate.
Yeah.
Because if not, literally, it's just like a beat down person. Like, oh, I'm not good enough. I'll never be good enough. I'm not, I can never do good enough.
Yeah.
And that's where I think, I mentioned it already, but that's where abusive relationships are. That is the foundation of an abusive relationship, because if it's always criticism, then they start to think that they're not good enough, and they start to think that they're not whatever it is enough, whatever you've criticized enough. And that's where people start to get away with abuse, whether it be verbal or physical or moving the rest. And it's crazy because like that verbal abuse, you're like, well, why would someone stay with that person? Because that's what they now believe, because they've been so told that and criticized of that, someone they're supposed to love and love them. And now it's this like miserable piece, and you don't think that you'd ever be worthy of somebody else. So I think that criticism is a killer in a relationship. Absolutely. Now, again, like you can critique things you don't like. You can state that you're not a fan of things. You can mention. But the goal is to actually bring a resolution to it. Right. If you're just always complaining about everything, like make it your goal, instead of complaining about things. Like for every one thing you criticize, or say you critique, say 3 things that you love. Like, and it's like, well, that's weird. Well, no, but really, do it and see how the critique is received. Yeah. Because I don't know about you, like anytime someone ever comes around me and all they ever do is critique what I do, like my defense is up. Oh, and that's probably everybody, instantly. Right? And it's like, oh crap, they walked in the room, and it's like, I'm just gonna walk out of. I'm gonna walk out of the room. Yeah, I don't want to be. And this is what happens with your relationship: is if you only ever critique, then now you've driven that person away from them, because all they think they're gonna get is negative, negative, negative. Yeah. And who we are as humans is to avoid that. Yeah. So really, I think the wisest thing you could do is, if you know that you do need to critique your spouse, then make sure you come with 3 nice things. Butter them up a little bit before and butter them up after. So just be real about it. It's called the sandwich method. Yeah, but that's like can be really corny. I don't like that. Okay, you won't have to like it because you're a direct person. You just got to know who you're dealing with. Okay, let me explain it. Move on. Because I think it's corny too, and I personally don't like when I know someone's doing it to me, but it actually does work for some people, and some people do need it. Sandwich method, right? Just tell me what it is. So you say some nice things, and then in the middle, but here's where I'm frustrated, this is what I don't like, and then you say more nice things. So it's nicely padded in there between nice things. Yeah. You know, and that if you're that person, it's okay. It's okay that you're that person. And most there are some people, and most people do need that. They need more maturity. I personally don't like that. Just shoot it straight. Yeah, hit me. with
just
the
what it
words,
is,
not
and
your
I'll
hand.
get pissed for a second, and then we'll work through it. But don't try to placate me is what I feel like.
We should talk about the requirement for emotional stability in a marriage in the future.
Yes.
So I think that's big.
That's huge.
That's big. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
Any more criticism?
No, I mean, I think it was pretty,
Okay.
I guess, pay attention to what you're thinking about. Obviously we think about the things before we let them out of our mouth normally.
Yeah.
Well, if you're ready to say something you don't like about what your spouse is doing, you've probably stewed on it.
Probably.
For the full day or however long. So if it is all negative and it's only pointing out the things that maybe is a weak moment in their life or that's not a strength of theirs or whatever, really think about how you're going to communicate it.
Smart.
You need to communicate it. You need to do it the right way though.
Yes.
So it needs to, we talked about it already. It needs to be, you can say the truth in love.
Yeah.
It needs to be kind, and it needs to be, you can't just tell them they suck.
Sometimes it's not even an issue with them.
Right.
Like,
sometimes it's just you.
Yeah. Do you need to criticize that? Is that genuinely an issue, or you just,
or is it,
you have an issue,
or is it a weakness in you that's a strength in them, and now you're insecure about it? I mean, these are real things.
Yeah, you got to actually sift through emotions. Mm-hmm. That might be weird and foreign for some people, but it's important.
You mean everything we feel isn't truth?
No, definitely not.
That's crazy.
They're an indication of what's actually occurring in our heart.
That's really crazy.
Yeah, wild. All right, next one, defensiveness. On the flip side of criticism, defensiveness.
Yeah.
If somebody can't tell you where you need to mature,
oh gosh,
if you can't accept
the constructive criticism,
then you're going to destroy a marriage.
Absolutely.
Because now there's no growth.
There's no
working
growth
towards something.
And now your spouse has to walk on eggshells constantly.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Because if they say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing or, bring something up, now it's just defense mode constantly.
It's terrible.
It's terrible having to feel like that with anyone, especially your spouse.
And it's like, if you actually love that person, know that person loves you, you know that they're not intending to hurt you.
Right.
If you got married to someone who you know is intending to hurt you, then I don't know what is going on.
There was plenty of red flags.
What were you even doing? But people get really defensive about stuff, and it's just makes it really difficult because now, they got defensive. Now it's a fight. Now it's a big issue, and then it's I'm not even going to worry about it anymore. I'm not even going to bring it up ever again. Well, now.
Right. Now it's
You're
just
never
a
gonna
problem
work on
that's
anything.
been buried and not resolved.
And then it's going to compound onto more problems. It's congratulations.
Yeah.
You've killed the connection that was supposed to be there because of your selfishness. Really, being defensive is being selfish.
That's true.
Because you are only inwardly looking. And I think defense, it's a defense mechanism.
It is.
It's a way to protect yourself.
It is, yeah.
But from what? What do you need to protect yourself from your spouse? Or are you protecting yourself from growth and maturity and truth and health? That has to be really what we look at it as is if I only put up my defense mechanism, then I'm actually defending myself against good things. Right.
And again, this is a great point. You need to understand or just accept the fact that constructive criticism or truth at some points in your life, they are uncomfortable. There are moments when someone says, hey, I've noticed this and I don't really like it. They're definitely, we're not sitting here telling you no, you need to just be happy and accept it. No, sometimes it is uncomfortable and you're not going to like it, but ultimately that person, your spouse, shouldn't be, which Most of the time they're not doing it to pick at you. They're doing it because they know that if you guys overcome that situation, you're only going to be closer.
Yep.
It's only going to better you. It's going to better your relationship. It's to help, right? So you can't, if you can really squash being defensive all the time. If you can just know, like, even though it's uncomfortable, I obviously, like, this should be our goal. I want to grow in every area, period. I want to become better and better and better every single day. I want to love better. I want to, serve better. I want, that should be our goal.
Absolutely.
Every day. And when we're defensive, we shut down growth immediately.
Yes.
And there's no progress. This is where I see a lot of couples go around the mountain. One of them gets defensive and then they just stop talking about it, and then they're good because really it's just an ignored problem. And then the same issue comes up and defense goes up again. And it's just like a continuation of no growth.
Grow the heck up.
Mature.
Grow up.
Honestly. Yeah.
Quit being 3 years old.
Yeah. And okay,
Grow
ladies.
up.
I can't even say ladies because guys do this too. Sometimes, I do think it's fair to say, like, read the room. Maybe don't bring up a topic that, if your spouse is trying to work through their emotions over whatever it is that's gotten them angry or upset or whatever, don't pick that time to say, hey, you do this and I don't like it and we're going to talk, like, read the room too, Maybe. No. This is just being respectful. And okay, I'm going to give them a couple minutes. I'm going to make sure, like, I'm not going to come at them when they're already, like, in their own emotions trying to figure stuff out.
I'm going to put my hand in boiling water.
Yeah, let me touch this while it's hot. Like,
don't do that.
That's going to hurt.
Don't do that.
It's going to make problems worse. So in doing this, read the room.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, the third one is contempt.
This one's big.
Define it for us real quick.
Essentially, here, let me just read it to you so we're very clear. It's the feeling that a person is beneath consideration, worthless, or deserving of scorn, or in other words, is disrespected or has disdain in their heart.
I'm not sure if you can bounce back from this.
No, honestly, like, this should be one
genuine forgiveness with the Lord.
Right.
If you don't do that, you're done.
Yeah. And this one's scary because I think this is what happens to a lot of couples.
Yeah.
That one of the spouse, they'll have contempt in their heart against the other one.
Some situation happened or.
Yep. And they've never been able to move past it. Which I think obviously contempt is something that is married to unforgiveness.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah, they're ugly cousins.
Yeah.
It's like
married
unforgiveness that has, like, been allowed to grow.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's like the second gen of unforgiveness, right? Is contempt. Mm-hmm. Because now it's turned to a disdain. Right. Now it's not just, oh, they hurt me. Now it's because they hurt me. I have hate and anger.
Yeah. Yeah. Bitterness.
Rejection and bitterness towards them.
Yeah.
How could you be in relationship with someone like that?
Oh, it's not good. At that point, you're roommates.
Maybe.
It's like you're just roommates. You're just coexisting in the same place together. Or it's just...
Yeah, what a miserable
battle
life.
Every day. Or but this is what I'm saying. Like, I think this leads into a lot of the other ones, right? It's like, now you're constantly going to be criticizing everything they do.
Yeah, or you're super defensive.
Or you're defensive against that person because of what they've done. So it's just a mixed bag of, like, everything gross.
Yeah, it's bad. It is just, I don't know if there's recovery outside of genuine forgiveness.
Right.
And that only is found in humbling yourself and realizing, like, well, if I can't forgive, I can't be forgiven. If the Lord can forgive me of things, then I have to come to a place of forgiveness towards them.
Right.
And I think too, like, yes, forgiveness, and then there's a process of restoration if there's something like really horrible done. So don't just think like, well, they asked for forgiveness, so now I have to forgive them, and they murdered my dad. It's like, okay, hold on, time out.
No, I think we really need
there is a process of restoration in a relationship, and restoration of trust, and restoration and moving forward. But it starts with forgiveness.
It does. Yeah, absolutely.
You don't restore and then forgive. No, you forgive
and then restore
and then go through restoration.
Right. Well, I think I think a lot of times, like, I don't know, I love the teaching around forgiveness, but I think sometimes how it's taught is like, well, you just have to forgive them. And it's like they make it like it's one time. You know, no, every time that feeling or emotion comes up, you know, something triggers a thought and you start thinking about it and it's like repeating through your head, you have to choose again and again to forgive them in that moment.
To remain in forgiveness.
Remain in it. And you do that by saying, when those emotions come up, number one, you take authority. Yeah, I already forgave them of this. Yeah. And I'm not going to allow these thoughts to stay and try to produce again unforgiveness and hatred or bitterness. You know, it's a choice to say, I'm going to do it as many times to keep my peace, you know? And I think it's important to know that, yes, you can forgive. You have to genuinely forgive the person. And then being gracious to say, like, okay, this restoration is next, but you know, here's how I'm going to do it. It's not an instantaneous thing. There's a heck of a lot to that. I'm saying this for someone who maybe did mess up. You know, sure, that person, you cannot hold it over the person's head forever. If you forgave them, then you don't constantly bring it back up and throw it in their face. That is a big no-no. But at the same hand, you have to be gracious with the person who has forgiven you, that trust is one that is a timely, it's a timely thing that has to be established. Absolutely. It is not an overnight thing or in a couple weeks. Like, it is like, all right, we're both choosing to work at this, and I'm going to, especially the one who messed up, you better be putting in work. Yes. To win back the trust. This is not like, well, I didn't lie to you today, so why don't you trust me again? This is like, you forgave me. You said you forgave me. It doesn't mean that they trust you automatically again. You have to earn it and work hard for it. Yeah. Trust has been broken. Yes. It takes time to reestablish it. And one moment to ruin it. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And people do it through lying, through being deceitful, through keeping things from the other spouse. Look, obviously, there's a lot of stuff where it's like, dude, like, you're out here erasing stuff, like, right, what shouldn't be seen. Yeah, why would you need to erase anything? Well, they don't trust me. Well, you're erasing stuff. Even if nothing was happening, now you look guilty. Yeah, you have 0 text messages in your phone all day long. Right. That's weird. Why? Yeah. It's just like, that's weird. Don't do things if you're not guilty. Don't do things like that if you're genuinely not guilty. You turn your location off today? Yeah. Why? Yeah. It's like, where were you going that it matters? Right. We should talk about that too. What? Someone asked, is it okay for my spouse to like look through my phone? Yeah, dude. I'm like, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, dude. Why would, like, anything that you feel you have to hide? Yeah, what's in there that they shouldn't see? There's something that's off. Unless it's like a gift, right? Right. Other than that, like, what's in there they shouldn't see? Right. Or they're always looking over my shoulder. Well, they can. It is obnoxious, though, when someone's just staring at your phone screen. They can, but it is obnoxious. Okay, that's not my point, but just side point. It is like, all right, I'm texting them, go away. But also on the flip, no, I mean, I agree. I think also on the flip, like, if your spouse has never done anything to cause you to not be trusted, don't be a psychopath and be like, let me see your phone, and be like insecure and like, yeah.
Or you do that sometimes. We'll be like on the front row of church and I'm texting somebody and you're like staring at my phone. It's like, dang, let's make it uber obvious that I'm on my phone. It's like, stop looking.
I don't think it needs to be any more obvious. You're on your phone a lot. Anyway.
What is it? All right. I guess today I'm in court. All right, the last one is stonewalling.
Okay.
And this is just like so childish. Now, difference between stonewalling and taking time to calm yourself down. Yeah. There's a difference. You need an hour or two to calm down and sift through your thoughts, that's fine. But if you're out here stonewalling for a couple days, weeks, months.
In other terms, silent treatment.
Yeah, grow up.
Grow up.
Big baby.
Yeah.
Big baby. It's just like, how much more do you say about that? Like, that's just like an ultimate level of immaturity.
Don't use silent treatment, cold shoulder effect. Like it
just says like, you don't care to make this work.
Right. And it honestly really does scream like, I'm childish and immature.
Yeah, like.
No, I don't want to talk about it. You hurt my feelings. Nah. Like,
yeah.
Ew.
Oh my gosh.
Honestly, ew.
That is saying that
ridiculous.
Makes me want to catch a case.
Oh, it is ugly.
Yeah, it's
ugly.
I don't even know how much more you can say about that.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Don't use silent treatment.
Yeah, grow up.
Communicate. Hey.
And if you're not good at, we should even talk about like how to communicate well. Like, real quick tip: if you just blow up and you get mad quick, just write it down. Write down why you're mad, and then all your points, and then literally just look at the piece of paper and go through it. Like, if you're not good at it, there's so many little techniques and things you can do to articulate your point and stay on point.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
Right. It's
just being adult enough to handle it.
Yeah. So don't use silent treatment. It's just wrong.
Yeah. And these points are from a guy named John Gottman. He calls it the 4 horsemen, behavioral predictors of divorce or breakup.
Ooh, the D word.
The 4 horsemen.
Oh, we had the D word in there.
You'll be cussing on here.
Divorce.
Trey, you should bleep every time we say divorce, you should bleep it.
Don't get
but no, seriously, like, these are 4, and that's the thing about horsemen is like they invade. These are 4 things that
come
invade,
to conquer,
and they will destroy your relationship. And if you don't want your relationship destroyed,
if you don't want to end in
do these 4 things.
If you don't want to end in don't do these things.
Yeah, be smarter than that. All right, so next week, what are we talking about? We mentioned it.
Did we?
We mentioned like 3 things we should talk about.
I don't know.
We'll pick one of them.
Yeah.
All right, you guys have a great day. I'm leaving. Bye.